Part 5 On Their Knees. The meeting took place 3 days after the battle. Not in space, but on Earth's surface. The aliens had requested a location for formal negotiations, and Tae-hyun had chosen carefully. Not a military base, not a government building. Instead, he selected a park in Seoul under open sky surrounded by trees. It was a test. Could the mighty Confederation representatives survive on Earth's surface? 5 alien delegates arrived in environmental suits. They stepped out of their shuttle carefully, moving with obvious discomfort. Earth's gravity was heavier than what they were used to. The air, even filtered through their suits, was harsher. The sun felt too bright. The sounds of the city, the birds, the wind all seemed to overwhelm them. Jiwoo greeted them formally. She wore a simple business suit, no environmental protection. The contrast was clear. This was her world, and they were visitors here. "Welcome to Earth," she said. The crystal being from the broadcast spoke first. Its voice through the translator sounded less confident than before. "Thank you for agreeing to meet. Did we have a choice?" Tae-hyun asked, joining them. He'd decided not to wear a military uniform, just casual clothes. It sent a message. This wasn't a military negotiation. This was a conversation between equals. The delegates followed Jiwoo and Tae-hyun to a conference area set up under the trees. Tables and chairs designed for human proportions. The aliens struggled to sit comfortably. Everything about this meeting was designed to remind them whose world this was. Elder Vryn attended via hologram, his image floating above a projector. "Commander Tae-hyun, Diplomat Jiwoo, thank you for this opportunity. Let's be clear about something," Tae-hyun said, his voice calm but firm. "You didn't come here to offer peace. You came because you lost. There's a difference." Vryn didn't deny it. "Yes, we lost, badly. Not just militarily, but politically. Half the Confederation is demanding we answer for what happened here. The other half wants to know how a species as young as yours defeated forces that haven't lost a battle in millennia. Maybe you should have asked those questions before attacking us," Jiwoo said. One of the aliens, resembling a collection of floating spheres, spoke up. "We were arrogant. We admit this. For too long, we have been the dominant force in the galaxy. We forgot what it means to face true opposition." Dongmin arrived, still wearing his combat uniform. He sat down heavily, making the aliens flinch. "You didn't just lose a battle. You lost 17 capital ships, over 10,000 crew members dead or captured, dozens of support vessels destroyed. Your entire military doctrine proven obsolete. Your reputation shattered. And for what? Because you wanted to control a species that asked nothing from you except to be left alone?" The silence that followed was uncomfortable. Finally, the crystal being spoke. "What are your demands?" "Demands?" Tae-hyun laughed. "You think we're going to make demands? We're not the ones who invaded. We don't want your territory. We don't want your resources. We just want what we've always wanted. Freedom. Then what do you want from this meeting?" Vryn asked. Jiwoo leaned forward. "Recognition. We want the Confederation to publicly acknowledge that Earth is a sovereign world, that humans have the right to explore space, to develop technology, to make our own choices. We want you to stop treating us like children who need supervision." "That's not unreasonable," Vryn said. "And we want access," Tae-hyun added. "You tried to isolate us. You threatened to cut us off from the galaxy. That ends now. We want the same rights as any other spacefaring species. Trade routes, diplomatic relations, cultural exchange. All of it." The delegates looked at each other, the floating spheres being spoke again. "And in return?" "In return, we won't destroy the rest of your fleet," Dongmin said bluntly. "We won't pursue your ships across the galaxy. We won't turn this into a full war that spreads to your homeworlds." "You couldn't," one of the aliens protested. "You don't have the capability." Subin appeared on a screen, grinning. "Are you sure about that?" "Because I'm currently inside 17 of your most secure military networks. I could shut down your orbital defenses with a keystroke." "Want me to prove it?" The alien went silent. The demonstration wasn't necessary. They all knew she could do it. Hana joined the meeting, carrying a tablet. "We've also analyzed your technology thoroughly. Your shields, your weapons, your engines. We understand how they work now, and we've already started developing counters. Give us 6 months and we'll have ships that can match yours. Give us a year and we'll surpass you." "Impossible," the crystal being said. "Technology doesn't advance that quickly, doesn't it?" Hana smiled. "We went from the first powered flight to landing on our moon in 66 years. From basic computers to artificial intelligence in 30 years. From splitting the atom to fusion power in 50 years. Speed is what we do. While your species spent 1,000,000 years perfecting what you have, we've been racing forward, adapting, innovating, constantly changing. Kyung-soo entered the park, walking casually. We've also learned a lot about your society, your strengths and your weaknesses, how your government works, how your species think. You spent a week observing us before attacking. We've spent 5 years studying you. Elder Vrin's hologram showed an expression that might have been respect. You prepared for this war long before it started. We prepared for the possibility, Taehyun corrected. We hoped for peace, but we planned for war. That's another difference between us. You became comfortable with peace. We never forgot that survival requires vigilance. Young Jae landed his fighter nearby, the roar of its engines making the aliens jump. He climbed out, still wearing his flight suit, and walked over. Sorry I'm late. Just finished patrol. Found 3 of your scout ships watching our outer system. Told them to leave. They left. The message was clear. Earth controlled this space now. Jiwoo pulled out a document. These are our terms, read them. Discuss them with your council. But understand something. These are not negotiations. This is us telling you how things are going to be. You can accept it and we can move forward as civilized species, or you can reject it and we'll continue this war until you do accept it. The crystal being took the document. Its hands shook slightly. And if we accept? Then we have peace, Jiwoo said. Real peace. Not the false protection you offered before. We'll trade with you, learn from you, maybe even become friends, but it will be on equal terms. We will never be your subjects. You're dictating terms to us, one of the floating spheres said. You defeated one fleet. We have hundreds more. Dongmin stood up, his full height and military bearing making him look dangerous. Then send them. Send your hundreds of fleets. We'll defeat them too. Because you know what you just learned? Humans don't quit. We don't surrender. We fight harder when the odds are against us. So go ahead. Send more ships. Give us more target practice. The aliens looked at each other with what could only be described as fear. They had come expecting to negotiate from a position of strength. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that had not only defeated them, but was eager to do it again if necessary. Elder Vrin spoke quietly. We will recommend acceptance of your terms to the council. I believe they will agree. We have no desire to continue a war we cannot win. Smart choice, Taehyun said. The meeting continued for several more hours, working out details and specifics. But the outcome was never in doubt. Earth had won not just the battle, but the war. The Confederation would withdraw. They would recognize Earth's sovereignty. They would open trade and diplomatic relations. As the sun began to set, the alien delegates prepared to leave. Before boarding their shuttle, the crystal being turned to Jiwoo. May I ask a question? Of course. How did you know you would win? You were outmatched in every way. Jiwoo smiled. That's where you're wrong. You had better technology, bigger ships, more experience. But we had something more important. We had motivation. You were here because your government ordered you to be. We were fighting for our homes, our families, our freedom. You can't match that with technology or numbers. The alien nodded slowly. Perhaps that is a lesson we needed to learn. After the delegates left, the human team gathered in the park. Night had fallen. Above them, stars filled the sky, stars that were now open to humanity, no longer forbidden, no longer blocked by alien decree. Taehyun looked up at those stars. We did it. We actually did it. Was there ever any doubt? Dongmin asked with a grin. Yes, Taehyun admitted. Right up until we won, I had doubts. But we didn't show them, Jiwoo said. We made them believe we were confident. We made them doubt themselves. That's half of winning any fight. Making your enemy believe they've already lost. Hana checked her tablet. The Confederation Council just issued a statement. They're accepting our terms, all of them. Earth is officially recognized as a sovereign world. Cheers erupted. People hugged each other. Some cried with relief. Others laughed with joy. They had faced down the galaxy's oldest and most powerful civilization and forced them to treat humanity as equals. Subin appeared on a nearby screen. Also, I'm seeing something interesting. Other species in the Confederation are contacting us. Younger species who were also under the Council's thumb. They're asking how we did it. How we stood up to them. Part 4. The Turning Tide. The battle had lasted only 4 hours, but it felt like days. Debris from destroyed alien ships now orbited Earth like a new ring. Human casualties were surprisingly light. 23 fighters lost, 2 destroyers damaged, less than 500 deaths total. The aliens had lost 17 capital ships and over 100 support vessels. Sang-Woo led his marine unit through the corridors of a captured alien ship. They wore environmental suits, weapons ready, moving carefully through the unfamiliar architecture. The aliens had surrendered this vessel, but nobody was taking chances. Clear? One of his soldiers called out, checking a side room. Sang-Woo advanced to the bridge. What he saw surprised him. The alien crew sat at their stations, hands raised in surrender. They looked terrified. These were the mighty Confederation warriors? They looked more like scared civilians. One alien, a being that resembled a walking tree, spoke through a translator. "Please don't hurt us. We surrender. We will cooperate." Sang-Woo lowered his weapon slightly. "How many crew on this ship?" 347. All civilians. Technical staff. "We're not soldiers. We just operate the ship." "You're not soldiers?" Sang-Woo repeated. "Then who fights?" The alien looked confused. "The automated systems. The combat AI. The ships fight themselves. We just direct them." Sang-Woo felt a chill run through him. The aliens didn't have soldiers. They had operators. They'd been fighting with robots while humans fought with actual warriors. No wonder they lost so quickly. They'd never experienced real combat. Back on the alien command ship, Yoonji worked in the medical bay they'd set up. The medic moved between wounded aliens, treating their injuries. What she discovered alarmed her. "Tae-hyun, you need to hear this," she said over the communication channel. "Go ahead. These aliens are fragile. Really fragile. One of them fell during the battle and broke 3 limbs. Another has severe radiation poisoning from exposure that wouldn't bother a human at all. Their immune systems can't handle Earth bacteria. I've had to quarantine several who got sick just from breathing our air." Tae-hyun absorbed this information. "How is that possible?" "They've been exploring space for millions of years." "That's exactly why," Yoonji explained. "They've been in controlled environments for so long, their bodies adapted. Clean air, perfect temperature, artificial gravity that never changes. They've become weak. Sir, if we took these aliens to Earth's surface without protection, most would die within days. And humans. We evolved on what they would call a death world. High gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous bacteria, predators everywhere. We're tough because we had to be. These aliens might be smarter and more advanced, but physically, we're apex predators compared to them." Kyung-soo was analyzing captured alien data files. What he found confirmed his suspicions. "Tae-hyun, I'm looking at their military doctrine. It hasn't been updated in 12,000 years. 12,000 years. They've been using the same tactics since before humans built the pyramids. Why wouldn't they update it?" Ji-woo asked. She was monitoring diplomatic channels, watching as news of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy. "Because it always worked," Kyung-soo replied. "Every species they encountered either surrendered or was defeated using these tactics. They had no reason to change. They became complacent." Miran pulled up statistics on her screen. "I've been analyzing their fleet composition. Every ship is designed for overwhelming force. Big guns, heavy shields, intimidating appearance. But look at their maneuverability scores. Terrible. Look at their response time to changing conditions. Slow. They're built to fight battles they've already won, not actual dynamic combat." Dongmin joined the conversation from his command ship. "I've been talking to their captured officers. You know what they told me? They were shocked we fired on them. Actually shocked. They thought we'd be too scared. That we'd surrender once we saw their fleet in action. They underestimated us completely," Tae-hyun said. "Worse than that, they didn't even consider us a real threat. This was supposed to be a police action to them, not a war. They brought enough force to intimidate, not enough to actually fight." Young Jae's voice crackled over the channel. "Sir, we've got movement. Looks like the aliens are regrouping. They're pulling back to the outer system." Tae-hyun studied the tactical display. The remaining alien ships were indeed retreating, moving away from Earth toward the edge of the solar system. They were reforming their lines, trying to establish a defensive position. "They're scared," Miran observed. "Look at their formation. That's not an attack posture. They're trying to protect themselves. Should we pursue?" Dongmin asked. Tae-hyun considered. They had momentum. They had the advantage. But pushing too hard could be dangerous. Not yet. Let them regroup. Let them think about what just happened. Jiwoo, what's the diplomatic situation? The diplomat pulled up her reports. It's spreading fast. Other species in the Confederation are demanding answers. How could the humans, a species that was supposed to be weak and primitive, defeat their fleet? There are calls for investigation. Some are even questioning whether the invasion was justified. Good. We need to exploit that division. Taehyun made a decision. Jiwoo, I want you to broadcast a message. Not to the fleet, to the entire Confederation. Show them what happened here. Show them that Earth didn't attack them. They attacked us. We just defended ourselves. Within the hour, Jiwoo's broadcast went out across the galaxy. She stood before the camera, behind her the image of Earth's blue sphere hanging in space. The message was simple but powerful. People of the Galactic Confederation, your leaders came to Earth claiming they wanted to protect us. But protection requires consent. They gave us no choice. They demanded our surrender or promised our destruction. When we chose freedom, they attacked. What you saw today was not a war of aggression. It was self-defense, she paused, letting her words sink in. Your leaders underestimated us because we are young. They thought age meant superiority. But we have learned something in our short existence. Survival is not about how long you've lived. It's about how hard you're willing to fight when everything is at stake. The message continued, showing footage of the battle, not glorifying the violence but documenting the truth. The aliens attacking first. The humans defending their home. The one-sided nature of the fight. We don't want war, Jiwoo concluded. We never did. We just want to be free. If the Confederation can accept that, we can talk. We can trade. We can learn from each other. But if they try to chain us again, they will lose again. This is not a threat. This is a promise. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the galaxy, species began questioning their government. Why attack the humans? Why not offer real friendship instead of false protection? What else had the Confederation been lying about? On the retreating alien ships, the commanders watched the broadcast with growing horror. They had not just lost a battle. They had lost the narrative. Earth wasn't the aggressor. Taehyun received a private communication request. Secure channel, high-level encryption. He accepted it. An alien face appeared on his screen. This one looked old even by alien standards. Commander Taehyun. I am Elder Council Member Vrin. I wish to discuss terms. Terms of surrender? Taehyun asked. Terms of ceasefire, Vrin corrected. And perhaps if both sides are willing, terms of understanding. Taehyun leaned back in his chair. This was unexpected. I'm listening. We made a mistake, Vrin said. The admission clearly pained him. We judged your species by your age, not your capability. We assumed you were like the others we've encountered. We were wrong. Yes, you were. The fleet will withdraw. We will not attempt another assault, but we need assurances that Earth will not retaliate. Taehyun almost laughed. You attacked us and now you want assurances? You threatened to isolate us, to cut us off from the galaxy, to cage us like animals. And now you want promises? Yes, Vrin said simply. Because despite everything, I believe we can learn from each other. If you're willing. Taehyun looked at the alien's face. He saw genuine regret there. Not just regret at losing, but regret at the choices that led to this moment. Maybe there was hope for peace after all. I'll consider it, Taehyun said. But Earth will never accept subjugation, not now. Not ever. I understand, Vrin replied. And perhaps that is what the galaxy needs. A species that refuses to kneel. Part 3. The First Strike. The 12 hours passed in tense silence. Across Earth, cities held their breath. People gathered with their families. Some prayed. Some prepared for the worst. But everyone watched the sky, waiting to see what would happen. In orbit, the alien fleet maintained its perfect formation. Ships arranged in geometric precision, creating an unbreakable cage around the planet. Inside the command center, Taehyun watched the clock count down to 0. 3 minutes, Miran called out. They're powering up their weapons. Subin status? Taehyun asked. On the screen, Subin looked exhausted but focused. Malware is in position. The moment they activate their lockdown protocol, my code goes live. They won't know what hit them. Young Jay, are your pilots ready? The fighter pilot's voice came through clear and confident. Ready and waiting, sir. Just give the word. Taehyun took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would determine Earth's future. Anna, what about your weapon? The physicist appeared on screen from her facility in the mountains. Behind her, a massive device hummed with power. EMP cannon is charged and locked on target. Say the word and I'll fry every system on that lead ship. 1 minute, Miran announced. Tae-hyun looked around the command center. Every person here had dedicated their lives to protecting Earth. Some would die today. Many would die. But they would die free, fighting for humanity's right to choose its own destiny. 30 seconds. The alien broadcast began. The same crystal being from before appeared on every screen. Humans, your time has expired. You chose isolation. Now you will experience the consequences. We will disable your primitive technology. Your weapons will stop working. Your ships will fall from the sky. Your communications will go dark. And then you will beg us to accept our protection. 20 seconds. When this is over, the alien continued, you will understand that we acted out of mercy. You will thank us for saving you from yourselves. 10 seconds. Tae-hyun's hand hovered over the command button. All units stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The alien fleet activated their lockdown. Waves of electromagnetic energy swept across Earth, designed to shut down every electronic system on the planet. It should have worked. The aliens had used this technique successfully on dozens of species. It had never failed, but the wave hit an invisible barrier. Earth's magnetic field, enhanced by hidden generators around the planet, redirected most of the energy harmlessly into space. The rest was absorbed by shielding that humanity had been building in secret for 5 years. The lights in the command center flickered once, then stabilized. Systems operational, Miran reported, shock and joy in her voice. All systems operational. In space, confusion rippled through the alien fleet. Their sensors showed that Earth should be dark and helpless. Instead, every human ship, every defense station, every weapon remained active. Then Subin's malware activated. It had been hiding in the alien systems for months, dormant and invisible. Now it came alive like a virus, spreading through the Confederation's network at lightning speed. On the alien command ship, screens went blank. Weapon systems froze. Communication channels filled with static. The navigation computers started showing false data. In less than 30 seconds, the entire fleet descended into digital chaos. Now, Tae-hyun shouted. Hit them now. Young Jae led the first wave. 200 human fighters launched from hidden bases around the moon. They were small, fast, and agile. The alien sensors, still recovering from the malware attack, barely detected them in time. The fighters used Earth-style tactics. No formations, no predictable patterns. They moved like a swarm of angry wasps, impossible to target, impossible to predict. They struck at the support ships first, the smaller vessels that maintained the capital ship's shields. Missiles flew. Railguns fired. The alien ships returned fire, but their targeting was off. Their perfect automated systems had been designed to fight opponents who followed logical attack patterns. Humans weren't logical. They were chaotic and creative. One support ship exploded, then another. Gaps appeared in the alien formation. Hana, take the shot, Tae-hyun ordered. High in the mountains, Hana pressed the firing button. Her EMP cannon, built using a combination of human ingenuity and stolen alien technology, released a focused pulse of electromagnetic energy. It traveled at the speed of light, invisible and unstoppable. The pulse hit the alien command ship's shield. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the shield flickered, sparked, and collapsed completely. Direct hit. Hana cheered. Their shields are down. Dongmin's voice came through the command channel. All ships target that command vessel. Pour everything into it. The human fleet, hidden until now behind the moon and in Earth's orbital debris, revealed itself. Destroyers, frigates, and converted civilian ships equipped with whatever weapons humanity could mount. They weren't pretty. They weren't elegant. But they were effective. Railgun rounds slammed into the unshielded command ship. Missiles found their mark. The massive vessel, designed to intimidate through size and power, had never been built to withstand sustained assault without its shields. Explosions rippled across its hull. Inside the alien command center, panic set in. The Confederation commanders had expected an easy victory, maybe some token resistance at most. They had certainly never anticipated this. These primitive humans had turned their invasion into a nightmare. Pull back, the crystal being ordered. Reform the line. Activate secondary shields. But the orders came too slow. The human fighters were already inside their formation, moving between the massive capital ships like minnows among whales. Every time an alien ship tried to fire, it risked hitting one of its own vessels. Young Jay's fighter dodged a plasma blast and looped around a destroyer's hull. He fired his missiles at point-blank range, targeting the engine ports Kyung-Soo's intelligence had identified as vulnerable. The missiles hit home. "The destroyer's engines exploded. That's 3 ships down," Young Jay shouted. "These things are easier than training simulations." Miran coordinated the chaos from her station. Her AI systems tracked every ship, every movement, every opportunity. "Target the communication arrays. Make them blind." More fighters peeled off to attack the alien communication ships. Without their network, the Confederation fleet would be reduced to individual ships fighting alone. No coordination. No synchronized attacks. Just confusion. Kyung-Soo watched the battle unfold on his screens. Everything was going according to plan. Better than planned, actually. The aliens were completely unprepared for human tactics. "They're trying to retreat into defensive formation," he reported. "But our fighters are too close. They can't reorganize without hitting each other." Subin laughed at her computer station. "Oh, this is beautiful." Their automated systems are freaking out. They're receiving conflicting orders. Some ships are trying to advance, others retreating. It's absolute chaos. Another alien ship exploded. Then another. The massive vessels that had seemed so invincible just minutes ago were falling like dominoes. Their shields failed under concentrated fire. Their weapons couldn't track the fast-moving human fighters. Their proud formations dissolved into confusion. Taehyun allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The aliens had thought they were fighting primitive barbarians. Instead, they found themselves outmatched by those same barbarians. Humans might not have million-year-old civilizations, but they had something more valuable. Experience in real war. "Sir, the command ship is trying to flee," Miran announced. "Don't let it escape," Taehyun ordered. "I want the Confederation to see this. I want them to see their mighty fleet defeated by the species they wanted to cage." Dongmin's command ship, a repurposed cargo vessel covered in makeshift armor and bristling with weapons, moved to intercept. It fired everything it had. The alien command ship, already damaged and struggling, took the hits directly. Its engines failed. Emergency systems activated. The massive vessel, the pride of the Confederation, went dark and began drifting in space. "Target destroyed," Dongmin reported. "No, wait. They're surrendering. We're receiving a surrender signal." For a moment, nobody spoke. Then cheers erupted throughout the command center. People hugged each other. Some cried. Others just stood in shock, unable to believe what had happened. Earth had won the first battle. The species that was supposed to be helpless had defeated a force that hadn't lost a battle in 2,000 years. But Taehyun knew this was just the beginning. The war was far from over. Part 2. The Underestimation. The alien broadcast started 3 hours after Earth's refusal. Every screen on the planet showed the same images. Massive weapons powering up on the alien ships. Demonstrations of their technology destroying asteroids with single shots. Statistics about their military victories over the past 1,000,000 years. Kyung-Soo watched the propaganda with a slight smile. He sat in a dark room filled with computers, surrounded by his intelligence team. "They're trying to scare us," he said. "Classic intimidation tactics." "Is it working?" asked one of his analysts. Kyung-Soo shook his head. "They're actually giving us valuable information. Look at those weapons. See how long they take to charge? See how they all fire in sequence, never simultaneously? That's a weakness." On the main screen, an alien representative was speaking again. This one looked like it was made of living crystal. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "Humans, you have made a foolish choice. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We have defeated species far more advanced than yours. You have existed for mere thousands of years. We have built civilizations that lasted for millions. You cannot win." Subin snorted from her computer station. The cyber warfare specialist had been awake for 36 hours straight, fueled by coffee and determination. "They keep talking about how old they are, like that's supposed to impress us." "It should scare us," Kyung-Soo replied. "But I think it shows something else. Something they don't realize." "What's that?" "They're old, ancient, and they've been comfortable for too long. When was the last time they actually had to fight for survival? When did they last face an enemy that could really hurt them?" Subin's eyes lit up with understanding. "They've gone soft." "Exactly." Kyung-Soo pulled up files on his screen. "I've been studying their society for 5 years, ever since we made first contact with their scouts. Everything is automated. Everything is safe. They live for thousands of years, so they're careful. They don't take risks. They follow procedures that are older than human civilization. He zoomed in on technical schematics. And look at their military. Their ships are massive because they don't care about fuel efficiency. They've had cheap fusion power for so long. They forgot about resource management. Their tactics are predictable because they've used the same playbook for millennia. Why change what works? Except now they're facing us, Subin said. Except now they're facing us, Kyung-Soo agreed. And we're different. We live short lives, so we move fast. We've spent our entire history fighting each other, so we know every dirty trick. We're used to scarcity, so we're efficient. We adapt or we die. At the command center, Dongmin was briefing his officers. The military commander stood in front of a holographic display showing the alien fleet. Listen carefully. These aliens think they know how to fight. They probably do know how to fight other aliens, civilized, predictable enemies who follow the rules of engagement. He zoomed in on one of the alien capital ships. But we're not civilized. Not by their standards. We're barbarians from a death world, and we're going to use every advantage that gives us. Young Jae raised his hand. The fighter pilot looked eager, almost excited. What's the plan, sir? The plan is to break their expectations, Dongmin said. They think we'll defend Earth directly, that we'll stay close to home and fight desperately. Instead, we're going to attack them. Murmurs of surprise ran through the room. One officer spoke up. Sir, they have us outnumbered and outgunned. An offensive action seems crazy? Stupid? Desperate? Dongmin smiled. That's exactly what they'll think. They'll think we've panicked. They'll think we're throwing our lives away in a useless gesture, and while they're thinking that, we'll be cutting their fleet to pieces. He changed the display to show attack patterns. Their formation is perfect. Textbook defensive positioning, which means it's predictable. Miran has analyzed their fleet movements. They adjust their positions every 3 hours, exactly on schedule. Military precision. Myran stood up, the tactical AI specialist carrying her tablet. I've been running simulations. The aliens communicate through a centralized network. Very efficient, very fast, but also vulnerable. If we can disrupt their communications even for a few minutes, their coordination falls apart. That's where I come in, Subin said through the video link. She looked tired but determined. I've been inside their systems for 8 months. They never knew. Their security is good against external attacks, but they never considered an enemy would infiltrate them before the war even started. Kyung-Soo appeared on another screen. We've also discovered something interesting about their species. All 5 races in the Confederation evolved on peaceful worlds. Low gravity, stable climates, few predators. They're smart and advanced, but they're not tough. Not physically. Earth's environment would kill most of them within days. Hana joined the briefing from her laboratory. The physicist looked excited. I've been analyzing their shield technology. It's impressive, but it's designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic projectiles. Big, powerful attacks. Know what it's not designed for? What? Dongmin asked. Small, fast, unpredictable attacks. Swarm tactics. They're using million-year-old defensive theory. We're going to use 21st century asymmetric warfare. Taehyun listened to all the reports and felt something he hadn't expected. Hope. Real, genuine hope. The aliens had better technology. They had more ships. They had more experience. But they didn't have what humanity had. Desperation. Creativity. The willingness to try something insane because conventional approaches wouldn't work. Ji Woo entered the command center. She had been speaking with other nations, coordinating the diplomatic response. The aliens just sent another message. They're giving us 12 hours to reconsider. After that, they begin what they call corrective measures. Corrective measures, Taehyun repeated. They can't even say attack. They have to use bureaucratic language, like they're filing paperwork instead of starting a war. It's their mindset, Kyung-Soo explained. They see themselves as administrators, not warriors. They're here to correct a problem, not fight an enemy. They think this will be easy. Dongmin cracked his knuckles. Then let's teach them that nothing about humans is easy. The command center buzzed with activity. Officers ran simulations. Technicians checked weapon systems. Pilots prepared their fighters. Everyone knew the stakes. If they failed, Earth would be conquered. Humanity would spend the rest of its existence as a supervised species, never free, never trusted, never allowed to reach their full potential. But if they won, If they somehow defeated the massive alien fleet, everything would change. Earth would prove that humanity belonged among the stars, that they couldn't be bullied or controlled. Taehyun looked at the countdown clock. 11 hours and 43 minutes until the aliens attacked. 11 hours and 43 minutes to prepare for the most important battle in human history. He thought about his daughter, safe in a bunker beneath the city. He thought about all the children on Earth, all the people who just wanted to live their lives in peace. The aliens thought they were protecting the galaxy from dangerous humans. They had no idea how dangerous humans could be when protecting their families. All units, begin final preparations. Taehyun ordered. And somebody get me Subin's malware package. It's time to show these ancient aliens what modern cyber warfare looks like. On the screens, the alien ships continued their perfect formations, confident, superior, completely unprepared for what was coming. Part 1, The Ultimatum. The morning sky over Seoul turned dark at exactly 9 o'clock. Taehyun stood at the window of the Defense Command Center and watched massive ships block out the sun. They were bigger than mountains, casting shadows across entire cities. He had seen the intelligence reports for months. He knew they were coming, but seeing them in person made his stomach turn cold. "Sir, we have incoming transmission," a young officer called out from her station. Her voice shook slightly. Taehyun walked to the main screen. Around the room, dozens of officers stopped their work to watch. On the screen, 5 alien faces appeared. They looked different from each other, but they all wore the same expression. Pride, superiority, the kind of look that said they already knew how this would end. The largest alien spoke first. Its voice came through the translators as smooth and cold. "Humans of Earth, we are the Galactic Confederation. We have come to offer you protection." Taehyun crossed his arms. He had heard this speech before in the leaked communications Kyung-soo's intelligence team had intercepted. Word for word, the same script. "Your species has developed too quickly," the alien continued. "You are dangerous to yourselves and others. You fight among yourselves. You destroy your own planet. You cannot be trusted with advanced technology or space travel. Therefore, we have decided to place Earth under protective custody." Another alien leaned forward. This one had 6 eyes arranged in a circle around its head. "You will surrender all military capabilities. You will accept our observers in all your governments. You will stop all space exploration beyond your moon. This is for your own good." Taehyun felt anger rising in his chest, but he kept his face calm. Behind him, he heard Dongmin curse quietly. The military commander had his hands clenched into fists. A third alien spoke. "You have 2 choices. Accept our protection peacefully or reject it and face isolation. We will cut off all trade routes. You will never leave this solar system. Your species will die here, alone and forgotten." The transmission ended. The screen went black. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Jiwoo stood up from her chair. The diplomat had been silent during the entire message, but now her eyes blazed with fire. "They're not offering protection. They're demanding surrender." "That's exactly what it is," Taehyun agreed. He turned to address the room. "They think we're animals that need to be caged. They think we'll roll over and show our bellies because they have bigger ships." Dongmin stepped forward. "What are the president's orders?" Taehyun allowed himself a small, hard smile. "We tell them no." Hana looked up from her computer station. The physicist had been running calculations during the entire alien transmission. "Sir, I'm reading their fleet composition. 57 capital ships, maybe 300 support vessels. Their weapons are more advanced than ours, but not impossible. The energy signature suggests they rely heavily on shield technology, which means they haven't fought a real war in a long time," Kyung-soo added. The intelligence officer walked into the room carrying a tablet. "I've been studying their military history. The Confederation hasn't faced serious resistance in over 2,000 years. Every species they've encountered either joined willingly or was too weak to fight back." "They think we're weak," Jiwoo said. She walked to the window and looked up at the alien ships. "They think because we're young, we're helpless." Taehyun joined her at the window. "Then they're about to learn something about humans. We don't do well in cages." Over the next 6 hours, Taehyun coordinated with leaders from every nation on Earth. The video conferences were intense. Some leaders wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to surrender immediately. But most agreed with Taehyun's assessment. This wasn't protection. This was slavery dressed up in pretty words. By evening, Earth's answer was ready. Jiwoo would deliver it. She stood in front of the camera. wearing the formal uniform of the United Earth Coalition. Behind her, the flags of all nations hung on the wall. She looked directly into the camera and began to speak. Galactic Confederation, we have considered your offer. Our answer is no. She paused to let that sink in. Somewhere in the sky above, the aliens were receiving this message. Tai-Hyun imagined their faces, probably shocked that the primitive humans had the nerve to refuse. Jiwoo continued. You claim to offer protection, but you demand submission. You claim we are dangerous, but you threaten us with isolation and death. You claim to care about our well-being, but you give us no choice. This is not protection. This is conquest. Her voice grew stronger. Humanity has fought for freedom since the beginning of our existence. We have fought tyrants, dictators, and empires. We have died by the millions to protect our right to choose our own path. Did you really think we would give that up because you asked nicely? Taehyun watched the broadcast with pride. Jiwoo's words were perfect. Not aggressive, but absolutely firm. We will not surrender, Jiwoo said. We will not accept your observers. We will not stop exploring the stars. Earth is not yours to control. If you want to trade with us as equals, we welcome you. If you want to share knowledge, we will listen. But if you try to chain us, you will fail. The transmission ended. Jiwoo walked back into the command center and let out a long breath. Well, that's done. That's done, Taehyun agreed. Now we prepare for what comes next. Dongmin was already on his phone, giving orders to military units around the world. All forces to battle stations. Activate the hidden defenses. Get our pilots ready. Subin typed rapidly at her keyboard. Sir, I'm detecting increased activity in the alien fleet. They're moving into attack formation. They're surprised, Kyung-soo observed. They really didn't think we'd say no. Taehyun looked around the room at his team. Dongmin, the warrior, Jiwoo, the voice, Hana, the scientist, Kyung-soo, the spy, Subin, the hacker, and dozens of others all ready to fight for Earth's freedom. Let them come, Taehyun said quietly. Let them think they can break us with threats and blockades. They're about to discover that humans are much more dangerous than they realize. On the screens, the alien ships began to move. They were arranging themselves in a perfect circle around Earth. A cage of steel and energy. They thought Earth was already defeated. They were wrong. Taehyun picked up his phone and made a call. Youngjae, get your pilots ready. We're going to show these aliens what happens when you corner a human. The war for Earth's freedom was about to begin.